So now we will discuss task number 6. Manage stakeholder expectations. So far we have discussed all the 5. The 5th one was align the stakeholder expectations, right? So where we discussed, okay, if the two stakeholders are not aligned to each other, what should we do? If one stakeholder is not aligned to the project objective, what should we do? If the stakeholder is not aware of what is happening in the project, what should we do? Right? We are trying to build a shared understanding there. Here, whatever you planned to do, you would be executing it, which means you are managing the stakeholder expectations now. That's what this task is all about. Okay, people domain, 6th task, manage stakeholder expectations. As you can see, in the people domain, there are 3 tasks. Engage stakeholders, align stakeholder expectations, manage stakeholder expectations. So 3 tasks out of 8 talks about stakeholders. Right? As we discussed, why did they change in 2026? Because they realized that the product manager's role has grown beyond just managing the project, right? But also aligning the project to the business environment. That's why the business environment share of the exam went in high, right? Earlier it was 8%, now it is 26% of the exam. On the same line is additional adding of multiple tasks. Right? So out of 8, if you see that 3 tasks, which is nothing but almost 30% of the people domain is your stakeholders, which also suggests that when your role increases in business environment, you will have to deal with stakeholders more. Okay, that's why these changes are there. Although these things will not be discussed in the exam, but when I share these ideas of why it is happening, you will be able to appreciate the importance of the changes well, and that will build your mindset, which will help you in answering the exam questions. Okay, let's discuss this task. Same thing. First, we'll discuss the intro, then what should be the actions, then some typical scenarios, 3 scenarios, and then we'll discuss the mindset that will help you in answering the questions. So this is managing stakeholder expectations. It means continuously monitoring whether the project outcomes remain aligned with what internal and external customers expect. When you go to exam content outline and you see manage stakeholders expectation, they have emphasized on this internal and external customers both. Internal customers means your team members, within your organization, the cross-functional team to whom you interact. Those would be your internal customers. External customers means those customers who pay your company to purchase something. Right? So in order to ensure that you are managing the expectations, you will have to continuously monitor that whatever we are building is aligned to both internal and external customers' expectations. Why is this so important? Because it maintains the stakeholder confidence, right? Yes, in the last task also, we discussed the same thing, that it helps build the stakeholder confidence. Here also it does that. Here, the only change is we are talking about internal plus external stakeholders, both. It's not that in the previous task, we were not discussing external. We were discussing in general, but here the external is emphasized a little bit. Okay. It also identifies any dissatisfaction early. Right? So if you are maintaining the expectations, you are regularly monitoring the expectations, you are regularly monitoring the work and aligning it to the expectations, you will be able to see on the face of the customer whether they are dissatisfied, right? Or whether they are not happy with it. They might not complain every time, right? But you will be able to realize that. Second, it also prevents uncontrolled commitments. Right? Many a times what happens is stakeholders would ask you something and you will not be in a position to say no. It may be a key customer, it may be a big customer. So you cannot always say no to them, right? But if you align whatever they are asking to whatever the project objective is, you can always discuss with them. You can always have a dialogue with them to tell them that whatever you're asking is not aligned to the objective. And it may create such kind of impact in the project. This way you will be able to discuss better. You cannot just say, no, I don't want that. Oh, I don't think this will help. What you'll have to do is you'll have to understand, okay, what are they asking? what is the project objective, and if whatever they're asking, will it help in achieving the objective or will it divert us from the objective? Whatever is happening, your analysis would give you a great way to have a dialogue with internal and external customers. Right? So continuous monitoring is important to ensure that whatever is you are building is whatever people want. Right? I believe you all are on LinkedIn, or probably you would be receiving some messages on WhatsApp from your professional groups, and you would have seen this, what we want and what people build. Right? We wanted something else, somebody has given us the tree or something else, what we wanted was something different. And it typically happens. And it will happen and it will continue to happen if we don't monitor whatever we are building is exactly what is wanted or not. You cannot just say, okay, I'll take the requirements, I'll close myself and my team in a particular door, even if I'm working on laptops. Okay. And then I'll come out 6 months later and show them whatever we have done. It's not possible. How much ever you spend time understanding the requirement, refining the requirement, discussing the requirement, writing down every single thing, yet you cannot close yourself and say that I'll build it and when it's complete only then I'll show it. You will have to discuss regularly on what the expectations are, because teams can make mistakes, expectations can change, environment will change, which will change the project continuously, right? So you cannot do that, and hence that continuous monitoring is important. Then it also keeps the outcomes relevant, right? If you align whatever you are doing to expectations, you'll always build relevant things, right? So when WhatsApp came into market, they sent you the WhatsApp application where you could only send the text message. Then you could send images, then you could send video. They kept taking feedback from you. They kept understanding your expectations and they kept on building that based on your expectations. That's why you find WhatsApp so relevant these days. Many other applications also came, but they died because they could just not beat WhatsApp on stakeholder commitments, on stakeholder expectations, on managing the stakeholder expectations. Right? Typically, you will see all those businesses which are successful because they could manage the stakeholder expectations. So same thing is applicable to our project also. It also improves the acceptance and adoption. Right? Acceptance means they said, okay, we agree and we have taken the product. Adoption means, yes, we have taken the product and we are using it as well. You want both, right? Nobody wants to build a product that nobody else wants to use. And say, okay, that was my job to construct a building. If nobody is living there, it's not my headache. I'll go to a next project. Typically, what would happen with that is that if you have done a project where people are using it properly and they're happy about it, they will talk about it with multiple people. Somebody will talk about it to your management as well. And that management will ask, okay, who did that project? Okay, this project manager did that project. Okay, give him or her promotion. Give them a bigger project. Right? That's how career grows. So it is very important that we don't just focus on delivering the work, but also try to ensure that whatever we are delivering is actually going to be useful. You don't have to design the systems. You don't have to decide the features. All those things would be done by business, but you have to ensure that, okay, whatever we are building is actually going to be useful. That discussions can be definitely done by the project managers. Right? So why should we continuously monitor and manage the stakeholder expectations? To build their confidence, to see if they're getting dissatisfied, to ensure that we are not making any uncontrolled commitments which is not aligned to the product objective, to build something which is relevant and useful, and to ensure that people accept it easily and people use the products also easily. That's why, as a product manager, you must manage the stakeholders' expectations. How would you do that? First, understand the expectations. If you don't understand it, you will not be able to manage it. Right? So identify the customer expectations. Then confirm the shared understanding. Once you have understood their expectations, talk back to them. Discuss with them that this is what I have understood. I hope that this is clear. And let them verify that, yes, this is what my understanding was. Then monitor the expectations and satisfaction throughout the project. Analyze if there are any gaps, address those gaps. Okay, understand the expectations, verify with them, keep checking every time whether we are aligned to the expectations or not. If there are any gaps, take some actions, respond, and realign the expectations. Right? So my suggestion would always be that you read these tasks together. Right? Whenever you're revising, whenever you're trying to look at it, think of all these three tasks together. Engage the stakeholders, align the expectations, and manage the expectations. In the exam, you don't have to spot, okay, if this is task number 1.5, this is task number 1.6. No, right? You just have to understand what it is about. So, what will you understand about? You will understand that it is about stakeholders. And once you know that for stakeholders, I have three major responsibilities. I should engage with them regularly, I should align their expectations, and once I've aligned it, I should also manage it regularly. This way, you will be prepared for 30% of people domain question, which is 33%, which means you will be prepared for 10% of the exam. There's no rocket science in this. Right? PMI has given you everything what will be there in the exam. If there are 8 tasks and 3 of those tasks belong to stakeholders, then you can say that okay, approximately, not exactly. 30% of it would be from stakeholders. 33% is your people domain contribution. 33%, 30% of 33% is approximately 10%. Right? Which means 18 to 20 questions. Because questions are total 180. You can always beat these things. Right? So expect around 20 questions based on stakeholders and your engagement, aligning and managing the expectations with them. Right? What type of questions? Let us see 3 more scenarios. A deliverable meets documented requirements. Right? So whatever was requirement, you have delivered. But the stakeholder says it does not satisfy their actual business need. So whatever they needed is not what was delivered. Although you have delivered what was required, what was discussed, but that's not what they needed, is what the stakeholder is saying now. Right? So the question is, why are the stakeholders saying it now? How did you miss it? Okay, see, in this case, don't think that okay, stakeholder is delaying the discussion. Okay, you can always say, okay, stakeholders can make mistakes, they can say different things, and they can wait, they can delay approval, they can tell you, but that is the stakeholders' problem. What is your way of thinking? My way of thinking is that stakeholders did not tell me about their need, and I am coming to know about it now. Where did I go wrong? Why could I not manage the expectations better? Why could I not monitor the expectations better? Why is it that after deliverable, I come to know this is what the stakeholders need, right? How could I have handled, engaged, aligned, and managed the expectations better? That should be the mindset. It helps in solving a lot of questions in the exam. Right? Second thing, somebody of you were saying that reading questions might take time. This is one of the way in which you can speed up your reading. Right? Many longer sentences will always have some connectors. Connectors like and, connectors like but, connectors like therefore, right? Connectors like subsequently, consequentially. Right? When they connect something with a word, right, with connectors, you would know okay what is happening, right? So if I am reading this, I'm saying a deliverable meets documented requirements, but so automatically mind says okay we are met the requirement, but something else has happened. So whatever we are going to read is going to be opposite of this, right? If it said and, okay, which means that something we have done and we have also done something better, right? So this way you will be able to improve your understanding of the scenarios if that's a problem, right? So how do we solve this? Meet with the stakeholders, understand the expectation gap, review the agreed requirements, whatever the success criteria was, and determine an appropriate response. What is this? This is a problem, right? Whatever you have delivered is not what the customer expected, or is not what the customer is now saying that it is what is expected. What will you do? Discuss with them, understand what happened, what problem happened, right? And try to create a response on how would you solve it. What will you not do? Immediately rejecting that, okay, whatever you are saying is wrong because we have done it according to the requirements. That's not the good way of project management. Yes, whatever was in the requirement document, you have delivered that, you have done nothing wrong. But the stakeholder is saying that I wanted something different. So you cannot say that, okay, this is what the document was, this is what we have delivered. Thank you. Handshake and bye. Right? We have to manage projects. We have to ensure that we meet the business needs. So we discuss with them. We understand the gap. Right? And we determine an appropriate response. Appropriate response could be to ask money from the stakeholder saying that see, whatever we have delivered is as per the requirements. Now you are saying this, which was not discussed earlier. So in order to do that, we will need some resources, and for that, we need some money. It's completely fine. That could be my appropriate response. But rejecting it just because it was not meeting the requirements is not a good approach. You cannot just stop it there. You have to bring it to conclusion. Stakeholder is not happy with whatever was delivered. So either you deliver it free of cost, or you ask them money to deliver, or you convince them that it is not needed. You have to conclude it. You cannot immediately reject the concern. Okay? And definitely not without assessing the impact. So first analyze and then take decisions. Second scenario, an internal or external customer requests a different outcome after reviewing a prototype, demonstration, or product increment, right? So you discussed with them, you understood their expectations, and you created a prototype. You created a sample. You showed a product demonstration, or you completed a release, you completed an iteration, and you are showing it to the customer, and they're asking something different. Little bit aligned to whatever was discussed in the previous scenario. What will we do in such cases? Same thing. Discuss with them, clarify the expectations, understand what could be the impact of this different outcome that is expected, and figure out what type of changes might be needed in order to complete the work. You are showing it to the customer to ensure that whatever you are delivering is exactly what they needed, but they are saying something else. So if they're asking you for something else, you will have to go through the integrated change control process. Integrated change control basically means that you are reviewing the change, understanding the impact of that change, and then taking decisions. What should you avoid in such scenarios? Avoid accepting the request informally. Yes, they are customers. Yes, they are key stakeholders. We don't reject their expectations immediately. We should also not accept the request immediately. Whether it is acceptance or rejection, it should happen after our analysis of whatever is being needed. Okay, so neither accept nor reject. Ensure that you analyze, you understand the impact, you go through the integrated change control. Basically means that involve all the people who are needed to be involved to discuss this and then take decisions rather than accepting or rejecting immediately. Scenario number 3, stakeholders continue attending meetings, but feedback, participation, or acceptance indicates declining confidence in the project. No stakeholder is going to come to you and tell you that I have less confidence in this. Sometimes they might, but you will have to see it. You will have to understand it through discussions, understand it through feedback, participation, and whatever acceptance they're making, whether there is confidence or not. If you see such scenarios that confidence is down in the stakeholders, what should you do? You should improve your engagement with them. Right? The only reason why a stakeholder might not be confident in whatever is happening in the project is because they are not engaged properly. Okay, so first engage with them, try to gather some more feedback, understand what is the reason of dissatisfaction, right? And improve your engagement. What should you avoid in such cases? Avoid waiting for a formal complaint that, okay, if the customer complains, then we will see what is to be done. If the customer escalates, then we will see what is to be done. For now, it is just our analysis of it. We may be wrong, we may be right. Don't wait for that. Right? Don't let the complaint happen in the project. Don't let the escalations happen in the project. And as a project manager, there's no formula for this. You will have to look at them, talk to them, discuss with them, engage with them, and understand that there may be low confidence, there may be some dissatisfaction. Don't wait for a complaint. Okay? Or don't try to just start sending more reports. Okay? See, they are dissatisfied. They have a declined confidence. They're not participating. The feedback is not good. And you said, okay, I have to engage more. Engage more is not the solution. Engage better is the solution. Right? So just because they have low confidence, and I said that, okay, it is because of less poor engagement, does not mean that we need to share them more reports, more messages, more mails. That is not needed. What is needed is discuss with them, understand the reason of dissatisfaction, and then adjust the engagement accordingly. It is not saying increase the engagement level, adjust it. Maybe you need to discuss less with them. Maybe you are sharing so many things that they're confused. Okay. So always be open about the solutions that you decide in the project. It could be this, it could be that. Don't try to judge the solution itself. Okay, that will also help you in answering a lot of questions in the exam. Be open about it. If it is not mentioned, I'm open about it. If it is not mentioned, it is agile, it could be traditional, it could be agile. I don't know. If it is not mentioned that we have budget or we have the required budget, we may have the budget, we may not have the budget. I cannot assume it. Right. So we should not assume that this satisfaction is because we are sending less. We need to figure that out. Right? We need to identify the cause of why that is happening and then take actions. Assumptions are not a good thing in project, neither it is a good thing in PMP exam. Okay. So what should you keep in mind in the PMP exam? Monitor expectations continuously. Right? Do not say that, okay, I have monitored the expectations and done in the project. Monitor it continuously, especially during the time where there is a lot of pressure in the project. Lot of escalations happening, lot of mistakes happening, and we suddenly stopped monitoring. We should not do that. We should monitor expectations continuously. Listen before defending. Many a times what will happen is the stakeholder would want something that is not needed. Many a times it will happen that they would say that whatever you have given is wrong. Don't start defending yourself immediately. Yes, I'm repeating this. You may be 100% correct. Your team may be 100% correct that you have completed whatever was documented. But that does not mean that you need to start defending yourself. Defending means, no, this was as per the requirement, this is what we have done. Rather than that, listen. What are they trying to say? And if it is something different from what was documented, tell them that this is the document, this is what we have discussed, here is the sign off, and because of which we did this. Now, if you want that, then I'll need to go back to my team, discuss, analyze, and understand what would be the impact, and come back to you with a solution. That is always better. Don't start defending yourself. Listen and then respond. Right? Separate expectations from approved requirements. Two different things possibly. Right? Expectations could be different. Approved requirements could be different. You need to understand the difference between that and then work on it. Just because it is somebody's expectation does not mean I'll start providing that. Right? They expect me to bring lunch and dinner to them. I cannot start doing that as a project manager. I cannot start taking them to uh, pubs for drinks on Friday nights just because it is their expectations, right? We have to deal with requirements. So try to understand that there's a difference between what they expect and what could be the requirement. We don't have to submit ourselves and say that this is what you needed, I'll do it. If they say something different, I need to analyze, understand, and then respond. Right? And respond proportionately. Right? Whatever is needed, we understand it and then we respond. Focus on outcomes and satisfaction. Right? Many a times, because of the pressure in the project, we tend to focus too much on the output. Output is the product. Okay. Output is this mobile phone. Outcome is that I'm able to use it for WhatsApp, for call, for videos, for Instagram, for social media, everything. Those are my outcome. Right? So if somebody focuses only on building the phone, they might not create the best phone possible. And if they don't create the best phone possible, people will not purchase it. I might purchase it now, but you cannot fool me twice. I'll not purchase it later. So that's what it is. As a product manager, we must think about the output for sure, but we must also think about the outcomes. Okay, so that was about managing stakeholder expectations. So we discussed how we need to understand what the expectations are and create a plan on how do we regularly monitor their expectations, match it with what we are building. If there are any gaps, then bridging those gaps of any kind of dissatisfaction. That's what this task is all about. If you keep these points in mind, it will help you in answering the questions correctly. Okay. Any questions in this, anyone? There's a question on the chat box. What is the difference between prototype and MVP? Okay, I'll just explain this. See, prototype is a sample of something. Okay, which means it's a miniature version of something. Let us say that I'm not very good at drawings, but let us say that, how do I create this? Okay, let's assume that this is a chair. Okay, this is where people will sit. Now, before you building this chair, what you do is you create a miniature version of it, which can be hold in hand. You will be able to see it. Right? You will be able to rotate it here and there. You can see everything up, down, this, that. So that will become your prototype. May not be useful. I mean, you cannot sit on this chair because it is small. Right? That's what you have done is created a prototype. What is MVP? MVP is minimum viable product. Okay. In this case, what happens is if let's say this is still the chair. Okay. What would be an MVP of this? MVP would be just the chair. Let's assume it's a wooden chair and that chair is your MVP. Minimum viable product, which can be used, which means minimum number of useful features. Right. So when I look at chair, at least I should be able to sit. And if I sit on this, it will be useful. Then what will happen? I'm not able to sit for long. So I will add some cushion to it. I've added one more feature. Then I say, okay, if I sit for long, I get pain, I need to stretch and this and that. So I'll make this bendable. Right? Then I say that okay, if I have to go to my colleague, then I have to get up and then go, okay, let's put some wheels to it so that you can continuously move. Right? So what you're doing is you're continuously adding more useful features to this product. Right? But when you remove all the other features, keep only the essential ones. So minimum number of feature that is needed for people to start using it, not purchasing it. Using it is called MVP. Okay. If you talk about minimum number of features needed to purchase it, then it becomes MMF, minimum marketable feature. So minimum number of feature that will help you sell the product. Here it is focused on using, right? So if you just give me wooden chair, I'll start sitting, but then I'll give you a feedback. If I have any pain, if I have any concern, I'll give it and I keep improving that. That's what MVP is. Okay. So prototype is very simple. It's not a product that is useful. MVP is a product which is useful. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
No problems. Any other question, anyone? Anything in mind? Okay. If not, then please attempt the 10 questions from these tasks as well. And try to go through the explanation. Even for those questions which you got correct, try to go through the explanation. It will help you in understanding the mindset. It will help you in understanding the ways questions are framed. Okay. Tomorrow we'll meet and we will discuss the remaining two tasks in people domain, which will cover our people domain. Right. So 1.7 is knowledge transfer. How do you ensure knowledge transfer in the project? And 1.8 is about communication. Again, two tasks which are similar, aligned to each other. You share more information, you can maintain knowledge. And to share the knowledge, you will have to communicate as well. We'll see both the tasks in the same manner that we have been seeing the tasks so far. Okay. For now, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow when we start with task number 1.7, knowledge transfer. Thank you so much, everyone.